Hi, I'm John Prasinos, Editorial Director of Investing Daily. Welcome to my weekly weed report for Thursday, March 24. Lights, camera, marijuana. Celebrity entrepreneurs are jumping aboard the marijuana bandwagon. On an increasing basis, glitzy entertainers are lending their cachet to the marijuana industry. Here's a list of the celebrities that have launched marijuana companies. Willie Nelson, of course. Tommy Chong, again, of course. Martha Stewart, Snoop Dogg, John Legend, Jim Belushi, Seth Rogen, Whoopi Goldberg, Mike Tyson, Melissa Etheridge, Montel Williams, Chelsea Handler, Gwyneth Paltrow, Rob Gronkowski, and Anita Thompson, the widow of my journalistic hero, Hunter S. Thompson. Speaking of gonzo journalist Hunter Thompson, here's what he had to say about marijuana. I've always loved marijuana. It has been a source of joy and comfort to me for many years, and I still think of it as a basic staple of life, along with beer and ice and grapefruits, and millions of Americans agree with me. The celebrities I've just cited as involved in marijuana companies, it's only a partial list, and that list gets longer with each passing day. But you don't have to be famous to reap profits from the marijuana boom. It's possible for everyday Americans to get rich from pot industry growth. Let's look at the latest news and trends in the cannabis industry from the perspective of average individual investors just like you. Think of my report as pot news you can use. I also examine the ancillary industry of psychedelics. Kentucky. The Kentucky House of Representatives last week passed legislation to legalize medical marijuana in the state. The legislation now heads to the Senate. State Representative Jason Nemes, a Republican who sponsored the measure, stated, "This is Kentucky grown, Kentucky processed, Kentucky tested, grown by Kentucky farmers on Kentucky land with Kentucky seeds for our Kentucky brothers and sisters and the Kentucky patients from across the Commonwealth." I think he made his point. Massachusetts. The Worcester, Massachusetts Human Rights Commission reported last week that it's considering a proposal to endorse decriminalizing psychedelics. Medical research increasingly confirms the efficacy of psychedelics to treat physical and mental ailments. Entrepreneurs, consumers, and investors are jumping aboard the psychedelics movement, an accelerating trend that's reminiscent of the legal and societal normalization of marijuana. More than a dozen state and local governments are striving to decriminalize psychedelics. From Massachusetts to California, from coast to coast, advocates are making significant progress in expanding a national movement that has already lifted restrictions on these substances in many jurisdictions. Worcester is only the latest among several Massachusetts cities that have taken up the issue of legalizing psychedelics. The Massachusetts cities of East Hampton, Northampton, Somerville, and Cambridge also have decriminalized psychedelics. And by the way, I'm from Massachusetts, and yes, it's pronounced Worcester. New York State. New York legislative leaders recently filed budgetary legislation that allows marijuana businesses to take state tax deductions that are widely available to other non-cannabis industries, despite the continuing federal ban. Both the Assembly and Senate budget measures, which are expected to pass in advance of an April 1 deadline, strive to create an exemption that would enable cannabis businesses to make the deductions as the state prepares to launch its adult use market. Vermont. State regulators approved marijuana rules and have begun accepting applications for cannabis businesses for their pre-qualification status. Medical and recreational marijuana is legal in the Green Mountain State. The state wants to prioritize small cannabis growers and plans to initially only grant licenses for indoor operations no larger than 1,000 square feet. The federal government, the U.S. Sentencing Commission, recently reported that federal marijuana prosecutions continue to decline as more states enact legalization. Take a look at the following chart. In 2012, when the trend toward state legalization started to gather steam, marijuana criminal cases were top among drug prosecutions. As of the end of 2021, they were at the bottom. There were 996 federal marijuana trafficking cases last year, according to the USCC. Those cannabis arrests represent only 5.7% of the total drug-related cases that went through the federal justice system in 2021. Thanks to state-level legalization, the so-called war on drugs at least from the perspective of marijuana, is a bust. I've just described trends that are generating tailwinds for publicly traded marijuana and psychedelics companies. Are you looking for the best ways to profit? Click the URL at the bottom of the article that accompanies this video on the Investing Daily website. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Join me next week for another weekly weed report.